Let me tell you something about nature. Nature never allows you to fall on your face if you take risks. Never. It goes like this. If you laugh, you risk appearing to be a fool. If you weep, you risk appearing to be sentimental. If you reach out for another, you risk rejection. If you love, you risk not being loved in return. If you place your dreams in front of the crowd, as we do, you risk ridicule. If you go forward in the face of overwhelming odds, you risk failure. But risk must be taken, for the greatest hazard in life is to risk nothing. The person who risks nothing, has nothing, does nothing, is nothing. That person may avoid suffering, pain, and embarrassment, but that individual will not learn, grow, feel, love, or change. Only the person who takes risks is truly free.
So what do you think?
Go on, honey. Take a chance.
Some of us came from place out of Calgary. Some people are stand up and rise. Some people are sit and cry.
What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscribe or die trying. You see the thumbnail. More importantly, you saw the clip. Shout out to Chris Eubanks Sr. Jr. just won one of those legacy matches with Connor Ben. So congratulations to all parties, you know. But what he said in this clip was so important and profound. What you see now in society is scary people. And the problem with being scary is you'll never do anything because you're so scared. You get what I'm saying? So it becomes an issue. And I can speak this to myself. I remember when I was younger, I had stage fright. And as I got older, I put myself in positions to have to not only just do public speaking, because you know they made you do that in class, but go a little further than that and do poetry slams or whatnot. That was college hilarious. But then, you know, getting on the microphone and getting on the stage. And I'm glad I did it. You know, I remember being nervous, getting butterflies with sports, you know. And I found that, you know, the better you prepare yourself, um, the more relaxed you're gonna be because you're cool with taking that chance. You know, I might just do my thing in front of a crowd, or I just might get it handed to me in front of a crowd. But I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put in as much effort as possible to put my best foot forward. You know, people go, you know, such and such did this to you, or you did that to them, and it's like, yeah, it's cool, but you have a joy of going out there and competing. And I've known so many people who say they want to do something, but they never do it. They never attempt to do it. They never try. But in their mind, they go, man, I could do it. And it's like, no, you can't because you won't do it. You won't get yourself up and take the risk. And part of what he was saying, like, you know, anybody could be a nobody because you're not willing to put yourself out there. And sometimes you got to understand, are you so scared to try that you'll die knowing you never tried? Is that worth it? And I don't think so. I just don't think so. Um, you know, everybody got their different paths and different directions, but life gives you the opportunity to take a chance on something. Everything is not going to be successful. Sometimes life is going to smack you in the face. And to be perfectly honest, it's okay to lose as long as you learn something. You get what I'm saying? It's okay to get knocked down as long as you get up and you learn something. That's okay. But people are so afraid of imaginary people who don't care, who are not in your life, who don't mean anything. And a lot of times, um, the snickering of people around are people who are people who not gonna do nothing. That's why they never stepped out of their comfort zone. You know, they'll rather, you know, talk crazy from afar than actually put themselves in that situation and try. You know, some people succeed, and that's great. But to succeed, you have to be willing to put yourself out there. Like a lot of y'all don't want to talk to people or meet people, but you gotta risk it. Like you said, man, if you looking for love, you gotta risk getting your heart broke. That's how it goes. If you want to be seen as smart, you gotta risk looking like an idiot. You get what I'm saying? That's how it goes. But are you willing to do that? And if you're not willing to do that, you shouldn't speak about anything. You really shouldn't. Because all of this, I told you so, and man, it'll never be me. You're right. It'll never be you because you'll never try. Just because you can, if you want to say you were the greatest of all time and never trying, nobody's gonna know. But there's plenty of people like that. Plenty. So don't be afraid. What's the worst that can happen? And I'm not talking about doing things that'll put your life in danger, but I'm talking about just taking certain chances. People tell you simple things like invest your money. You might like, I don't know how to do it. Fine. Learn, like try. You might have to go trial by fire. Because a lot of things in life that I didn't know how to do personally, guess what I had to do? Just go for it. Yeah, all right, well, here's what it is. I don't know this, but hey, if I want to do it, I gotta figure it out. And there's nothing wrong with that either. And people will talk crazy to you while you're figuring it out. Oh, it ain't perfect. Oh, I don't care. Like I'm creating something here. It's not going to be perfect. Nothing is. No one is. But I would rather have my imperfect thing that you making fun of than not having anything at all. And that's important sometimes. More important than Like, they tell you it's the dash in between your your birth year or your birthday and the day you died that's meaningful. That dash. And you can't, and if you die and you go, I never actually did anything with that dash because I just didn't want to look foolish. I didn't want to look a certain way. Because people at the time, it couldn't be me. And you're like, right, it never was you anyways. Because you're right, it couldn't be you because you wouldn't try. I never would have been in that situation. You're right, because you never would have tried. And that's what sometimes how people have jealous hearts because people see themselves in other people who are, let's just say, more successful. And they'll go, I could have done that. You could have, but you didn't try. They tried. And sometimes people try and people fail. And sometimes they fail and fail and fail, but they stick with it and then they become successful. And then people go, well, I mean, they was at it for years. So, I mean, it is what it is. People take losses, man. But you have to be willing to take a loss if you're trying to do something that's important to you. So, I mean, to me, it's like, what's worse? What's really worse? The idea of I know I'm undefeated because I never got in a ring, or being 1-0 or 0-1. I'll take 1-0 or 0-1 because I'm not finna sit there and go, hey man, I never, I, I seen what happened to you. Yeah, you saw because you was watching because you was too scared. You get what I'm saying? And that's a life analogy. So in my opinion, man, you win some, you lose some, but if get in the game of life. Stop being afraid to get in the game of life. Because you don't have, because tomorrow is not promised. You know. So that's all I'm gonna say, man. I hope y'all have a good one. Like, share, subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Peace. You ever been to the top of the universe? I'm gonna take you there.